Ontario's cancelled gas plant scandal was just one of several billion-dollar boondoggles to occur in the province under the financially egregious and reprehensible run of the McGuinty Wynne Liberals. But at long last, one of their minions, found guilty in the attempted cover-up of this scandal, is going to jail. But just check out how members of the media party are covering the conviction of a fellow Liberal. Well, maybe those cancelled gas plants did not constitute a crime in the truest sense of the definition. The cancellation was merely an act of grotesque political opportunism by the Ontario Liberals. It was all designed to get votes in a couple of ridings as opposed to doing what was right for the entire province. But there was certainly a criminal sidebar to the gas plant saga, namely, the Liberals did their damnedest to cover up their role in orchestrating this scandal by deleting digital records that contained all the nitty-gritty details of their caper. And so it was that political aide David Livingston, or as I like to call him, Ontario's Little Hillary, well, he went on his merry way destroying computer records, including hard drives that contained information that was very, very embarrassing to his Liberal puppet masters. In February, Livingston was found guilty of illegal use of a computer system. The Crown asked for 6 months jail time while the defense had called for a conditional discharge. Well, today, Livingston was sentenced. The judge gave him 4 months and 1 year probation plus 100 hours of community service. The sentence, no doubt, comes as a complete shock to Livingston and his Liberal supporters, and of course his cheerleaders in the mainstream media. I'm sure they expected McGuinty's former chief of staff to merely receive a few token hours of community service, which, by the way, would have been unbearably demeaning for Livingston. I mean, can you imagine, folks, this lifelong Liberal entitled to all his entitlements actually rubbing shoulders with the great unwashed masses as opposed to, you know, doing the cocktail circuit with his champagne socialist friends? Oh, death, where is thy sting? But the judge obviously bought into the Crown's argument that Livingston's actions were so egregious that he truly needed jail time to send a message. But the media party, well, they don't like to see one of their own go down like that. For starters, the headline from the Toronto Star kind of plays it straight, quote, "Former Chief of Staff to Premier Dalton McGuinty gets 4 months in jail for wiping hard drives in wake of gas plant scandal," end quote. But the weaselly words are soon found in the deck. Quote, "David Livingston was convicted of unauthorized use of a computer system for arranging a password that enabled a private contractor to clear hard drives in the Premier's office before Kathleen Wynne took power," end quote. Did you catch that, folks? Those last 5 words, before Kathleen Wynne took power? Why is that so relevant? Well, I'll tell you why. The subliminal message here is this: hey, Ontarians, what Livingston did was connected to Liberals 1.0 when old, what's his name was in charge. This did not happen during Liberals 2.0, headed up by our still squeaky clean Premier, Kathleen Wynne, peace be upon her. By the way, is anyone buying into the Kathleen Wynne, Sergeant Schultz defense of, "I know nothing, I saw nothing" in regards to the gas plants? I mean, she was as senior gets in the McGuinty inner circle. Well, I'll leave that for you to decide. Moving on, in an attempt to crank up the sympathy level for Livingston, the Star dredges up old quotes from Livingston's lawyer, Brian Gover, back in February when he stated, quote, "The years of stress and loss of employment status, the disgrace and stigma he has suffered will deter others," end quote. Pass me a hanky already. As for current events regarding Livingston, the Star made sure to push the defense narrative that his sentence was harsh. 4 months? Come on, it's not as if Livingston, a career TD banker, is going to be doing life and being declared a dangerous offender, if only. As for Livingston's reaction to time in the big house, the Star notes how he gulped twice as his wife wrapped her arm around his. Gee, thank goodness Justin Trudeau wasn't in court. He'd deplete a full box of Kleenex Ultra Soft witnessing that performance. But the Star then made a huge tactical error in trying to gin up yet more sympathy for Livingston. You see, the story highlighted Livingston's public apology back in February. Quote, "I apologize to my friends and my family for the anguish I have put them through. I regret the time and money that have been required to investigate and prosecute this case." End quote. Did you notice something missing in that mea culpa? You see, when it comes to apologizing 101, the cardinal rule is this: when apologizing, you must apologize to those who are most deserving of an apology. Livingston said sorry to his friends, he said sorry to his colleagues, he said sorry to his family members, and as I previously noted in this space, the constituency Livingston neglected to apologize to was you, the Ontario taxpayer. Yes, even when Livingston was outed, even with all this exposure and shame and toxic publicity, Livingston couldn't be bothered to say sorry to the people who got financially screwed the most. In fact, he never even said that he was sorry for his actions, period. No, he just feels badly for the anguish he caused his fellow lefty elitists. Now, moving on to the CBC, its coverage of the Livingston sentencing plays it fairly straight for the most part. But here's the thing, folks. Be it a debate or a news story, the last words are always so very important. And here's how the CBC decided to end its story, not with a justifiable condemnation of Livingston, but rather with a feel-good quotation from the judge. Quote, "I would characterize Mr. Livingston's overall community service in a variety of spheres as exceptional." End quote. Yep, the end, period, full stop. But wait a minute. That's not the story here. And the judge had way more damning things to say about the unsavory aspects of Livingston's conduct. So why would the CBC cherry pick this nonsense about exceptional community service? Why would they effectively end this story with an endorsement of Livingston? Why not end the story with a quote from a member of the opposition or the Crown lawyer, all of whom had plenty of harsh things to say about Livingston? But no, the CBC feels obligated to conduct its own version of community service, namely creating some PR for a Liberal crony who got caught red-handed. Yet when you think about it, folks, the CBC's conduct regarding this story shouldn't come as any surprise at all. To a CBC drone, Livingston isn't someone to condemn, he's someone to celebrate. In the eyes of a CBC hack, Livingston's not a heathen, he's a hero. Now keep in mind, the stories I've cited are supposedly straight, unbiased news reports of the Livingston verdict. The opinion columns and the editorials, well, they have yet to be written by the media party. Can you possibly imagine what sort of liberal apologist angle that prose will pursue? Spin cycle, you say? Oh, methinks you're going to see the literary equivalent of a washing machine powered by a nuclear reactor. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, you may have heard the Rebel has a brand new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.